The Tanso Racing Group Toyota GR86 Grand Tour continues on its merry way. Last week, we were in the leafy countryside of Norfolk, and now we head to central South Florida to the Sebring International Raceway for round 3 of this 6-round series. Hello, everybody. Welcome along, and a very good evening to you all watching on the JP Broadcasting Network. You join the returning Alex Goldschmidt, who's back in the saddle alongside Mr. James Parfitt, as we've got an adventure over this just over 3.7 miles, 17-turn circuit that has been open since December of 1950 and occupies the site of the old Hendricks Army Airfield Base. It was a B-17 pilot training base from 1941 to 1946, located 70 miles south of Orlando. We've already had 2 rounds in the books. We're into the latter throes of qualifying. And with that, let's give you an update on the top 5, respectively, in the scores in the Pro and the Pro-Am classes. Jim Marshall and Dan Forster tied on 153 points apiece after the opening 4 races. Neil Kennedy just a further 3 points behind in third, ahead of Matt Benson and Mickey Dolan, who ran out the top 5, covered by 12 points. Connor Pink leads the way by 15 points in Pro-Am, with 168 to his credit, ahead of Adrian Hadfield. Casper Roost rounds out the top 3 and is level on points with Simon Darch, and Robert Barber rounds out the top 5. And with that in mind, James Parfitt, good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Hope you are well. Hope you've had a fabulous weekend. Listen, before we go any further, I am aware, obviously, as we're all aware, of Dan Wareham's problem he had last week where his steering wheel, well, just disintegrated. Okay. Well, apparently he fixed that, which was all good, and he's back up and running, and he's won races with it as well. One of the problems is his poor wife Rachel ended up in hospital. Fell down the stairs at her school, shattered a bone. Has been in hospital getting screws, pins fixed. I'll hold her back together. So a big shout out to you, Rachel. Hope you get well soon. Much love, and thank you so much if you are joining us as well. But get well soon for that one. We're going to be in for an interesting one here. Sebring, bouncy, GR86. Don't like rear wheels coming off the floor. What could go wrong?
Everything and anything here at Sebring, and especially with the fact that we've got qualifying about 90 seconds away from the checkered, and Jim Marshall at the moment is currently the fastest of pretty much everybody. He's only a couple of thousandths quicker than Alex Cubulus, who's a new entrant in the 371 in the Pro class, who we're having a look at the moment. He's heading on his way through the Fangio chicane now up to Cunningham Corner and Collier Curve before the 90-degree right-hander at Tower. Neil Kennedy and Daniel Wareham ran out the top 4. Matt Benson completes the top 5 in Pro. Connor Pink and our good friend Mr. Zoomies, Joseph Lopez, rounds out the top 2 in the Pro-Am qualifying side of things. They're respectively 7th and 8th, ahead of Adrian Hadfield, who's 10th. Ryan Clark and Casper Roost round out the top 5, and as I say that, Lee Martin jumps up into P6, so that straight away drops Connor Pink and Joseph Lopez to round out the top 9 overall, as we're into the final 35 seconds of qualifying. And a very good evening to Sir Draxelot. Looking forward to this one. Should be a good race. Well, there's 2 of them, if you might remember, Mr. Draxelot, because we've got a 20-minute sprint, and then we've got a top 12 inverted reverse grid for the 25-minute feature. Yeah, as you said, JP, rear-wheel drive, bouncy production-based race cars, undulation, like we're seeing at the moment going through into Sunset Bend, as Alex Cubulus comes out of the final corner and is going to head towards the line, keeps away from those tyre barriers, and that's another bone of contention if these cars go 3 wide. But that is it for qualifying. And Jim Marshall takes pole in Pro, and Connor Pink in Pro-Am.
Let's do the grid here, sir.
20 cars. So a big old grid this week here at Sebring. Jim Marshall on pole position ahead of Alex Cubulus on the front row. Neil Kennedy and Daniel Wareham round out the top 2 rows, with Matt Benson and Lee Martin rounding out row 3. Dan Forster and Connor Pink on row 4, with Joseph Lopez and Michael Dolan rounding out the top 10. Adrian Hadfield and Ryan Clark round out row 6. Row 7, we then have Kasper Roost from Denmark and another newcomer in the form of Egypt's Ahmed Mohammed in 14th place. Robert Barber and Simon Darch round out row 8. Jason Brennan, John Johnston, Jack Padley and Matt Perez round out your 20-strong grid. So, as Sir Draxlot says, I know how it works. Hopefully no shady moves this week, accidental or not. Well, the proof will be in the pudding on that one, Sir Draxlot. Wouldn't you agree, JP?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Watch turn 1. All I'm going to say. Turn 1, lap 1. Keep an eye on it because it could go horribly wrong. Hopefully not, but we'll see if anybody's on the outside.
Yep, just waiting for Jason Brennan in the 242, due to start on the inside of row number 9 to ready up. Then we'll have a full complement unless he gets caught short and ends up starting from the pit lane, which has happened to drivers in this league before. Jason Brennan now finally readies up. So we have 20 GR86s ready to go racing for race 1 of round 3 here at Sebring. The 5 red lights start to ignite. They're all on, and it's a quick release there as there's a big bloom of wheel spin. And good start by Jim Marshall, who is leading the field. Neil Kennedy getting ahead of Alex Kubelis as it's going to be too wide, possibly. Kubelis is going to lose out to Daniel Wareham as they thread the eye of the needle through at turn 1. Look at that, two by two, Noah's Ark styly, as they all try and get through very, very cleanly through turn 1, now into turn 2, and then the complex that will lead them into Gurney Bend. But a couple of drivers hip checking and checking up a little bit, but nevertheless, everyone so far, touch wood, knock knock, he says, everyone's gotten through so far, but a couple of drivers have lost positions. Ahmed Mohammed has dropped down from 14th to 18th. John Johnson is at the tail end of the field, but everyone's starting to fan out a little bit as we go into the hairpin turn and then through into Fangio. Jim Marshall's still at the moment, JP, holding on to the race lead in the SRK Racing Team 366. He's got 3 cars between himself and chief rival Dan Forster in the Pro Division.
Yeah, absolutely as well. You can see Jim's got away. Neil Kennedy, Wareham, Kubelis lost positions there as well. Matt Benson jumped the start. He's going to go have to go in pit lane. He will either get a drive-through or he'll get a stop and go. I think it should be a stop and go. Now, Matt, if you are listening, turn off your fuel, turn off your tyres, turn off your windscreen tear off, and it should only be a couple of seconds that you'll be sat there for. A little tip for anybody who plays iRacing. If you get a stop and go for any reason, turn everything off and your stop and go will be by an absolute ton of time. But Kennedy at the moment tucked in right behind here. We're going to go on the run through into the right hand of Le Mans, straight down the Ullman here as well. And it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this one works out, because they could end up 2 or 3 wide.
Dan Wareham right on the back as Kasper Roost has a slight moment. I think coming through Le Mans corner after Genderbean Bend. Matt Perez and Jack Padley have also had a little bit of drama, and they're at the back end of the field now as Connor Pink gets through on Matt Benson as Daniel Wareham fires it up the inside of Neil Kennedy. Alex Kubelis trying to look to go through as well at the same time through Sunset Bend. That was so close between that trio. And now Daniel Wareham finds himself in second position. He's become the hunted rather than the hunter, as Alex Kubelis might look for a move. Shows his nose to Neil Kennedy as they go through into turn 1 on lap 2 of what is going to be, in terms of laps, very short when it comes to the fact that these drivers are doing 2-minute 33s, 2-minute 34s at the very lowest. But Neil Kennedy in the 306 holding on to that third position as you now see the splits between the respective classes. So Connor Pink leading Adrian Hadfield, and those are the top 2 in the championship. Ryan Clark, who's 9th in Pro-Am, now up to P3, ahead of Mr. Zoomies, Joseph Lopez. This is a lot of jockeying for position. Kubelis to the outside of Kennedy. That's not going to work, and that's probably going to bring in Dan Forster into play.
Yeah, it looks like they're all going to start closing up here as well. The pros, there's Michael Dolan outplaced at the moment. He's in 8th. He is up 2 places, so he is gaining on them, but he is coming into action here as well. Nice little fight going on down here in the Pro-Ams. Lopez, Clark, Roos, Darch, Barber and Mohammed all having a nice little bit of a ding-dong as they go into the right-hander of Cunningham now. Very tricky corner. They kind of want to make sure that they can try and just stay on the inside, let it drift out a little bit, take a little bit of the outside line if you can, over the curve, just get that little bit of rotation, sitting in the bump and hope that the car sticks, because it is very, very difficult indeed. SRK though, Alex, you've got to point out, leading the way in pros and leading the way in AMs. SRK looking strong.
Yes, indeed. So Jim Marshall and Connor Pink flying the flag for SRK Racing Team very, very nicely at the moment. Ryan Clark still trying to close in on Mr. Zoomies, Joseph Lopez, as they go through Genderbean Bed now into Lamar, onto the Almond Straight, which is where you can really pick up a lot of overspeed. And, well, the main thing is Daniel Wareham is gunning for that race lead. He's right with Jim Marshall as they will be going through Sunset Bend. There is going to be an attempt of a positional change here. Connor Pink through on Michael Doland. And Ryan Clark has contact with Joseph Lopez. And Mr. Zoomies tumbles down the order like a pebble in a pond. And in the meantime, well, this just goes to show how close these drivers are fighting as Daniel Wareham to the outside at turn 1 on Jim Marshall. He runs 2 wheels off track. But is he going to get the advantage, get the nose in front? Marshall to the inside at turn 2. And he retains the lead, but still, Wareham keeping his nose stuck in. This is bringing Cubulus back into play. Kennedy runs wide, coming into Gurney Bend, and that loses him a little bit of real estate towards the front bumper of Dan Forster. But Daniel Wareham is absolutely like a rash over Jim Marshall at the moment. He's looking to the outside. It's the hairpin turn. Cubulus to the inside. There nearly was a little bit of contact, but there is Neil Kennedy off the circuit. Exit stage right, front end into the barriers.
Yeah, Kennedy's off the side of the stage. He's just got to sit there and let everybody come through at the moment as well for him. But Marshall is under attack from Wareham. He's been climbing all over him for the last half of the lap. What he has got to be careful of is Cubulus in behind him. He doesn't want to go and leave that inside line open and let Cubulus come up the inside of him, because if he does that, he will be in trouble. He'll go on the attack of a position, but he'll end up losing one. So Wareham's got to be careful here. He is attacking Marshall as much as possible. So let's see what happens there as well.
Yeah, Wareham all over Marshall like a cheap suit at the minute, as they are going to go through at this point in the circuit. And that is through Tower 10. That's going to be now going through, I think, into Genderbean. And Wareham's got the lead by the slightest of margins. Good move there by Wareham to get through on Marshall. Hadfield and Roost are swapping second position like musical GR86 chairs at the moment. In the battle for P8 overall. Michael Dolan has had a big moment off track and has dropped behind Casper Roost. And now Alex Cubulus dives to the inside here at Sunset Bend on Jim Marshall, as the 371 tried for the inside line. Marshall very wide coming out of Sunset Bend. Is going to carry the overspeed and get the inside line for turn 1, but Cubulus has just nosed up ahead. He's half a car length in front as they're going to go into the left-hander here at turn 1. Marshall to the inside. Cubulus in the 371 still keeps it there with him. Forster is right on the back of the pair of them. He's going to try and see if he can make something special here as they go through at this point in the circuit. That's very, very close indeed, but a good move from Dan Forster, getting past Alex Cubulus, who is now slowly but surely being reeled into the clutches of the 349 of Lee Martin. But Forster and Wareham pulling out 2 blitzing manoeuvres here at Sebring.
Yeah, getting the job done as they go down into the hairpin now as well. Foster's kind of half defending, half not. He's got them through the hairpin. Marshall's now going to try and use this gap to close up on to Wareham if he can. Pink's got a big old gap to Roost. Roost, Hadfield, Dolan have not got a bigger gap. There is some other swapping further down as well. Then you can see here that it's going down in the bottom end of the pack. This is Barber having a nice little ding-dong at the same time with Clark and Mohammed in front of him. And then further up is Adrian Hadfield, Casper Roost and Connor Pink who is there as well. Whoa! Hadfield.
That was Roost going off the circuit as well, so...
there was a little bit of a bump there, mate.
A little bit vargy-bargy, or as you like to say, a little bit of ta-ta-ta between the pair.
Oh, he definitely got a kiss there, mate. Definitely had to...
He got more than a love tap. It was a bit like, hello, sunshine, to me, to you, bang.
Oh, Hadfield.
He's definitely not going to be on Casper Roost's Christmas card list this year, I can assure you of that much after that one. Nevertheless, Wareham leading, and him and Marshall, they pulled a little bit of a gap over Dan Forster, which is to the best part of nearly a second. As they go down the Ullman Straight here on lap 4, we've got just over half of the race remaining, so 10.5 minutes. Marshall sticks his nose out to remind Wareham that he's still there. So gap between them is about 4/10 as they just coming through the exit of Sunset Bend, turn number 17. And Marshall keeping Wareham really, really honest at the moment. So Marshall has already picked up a win. Forster picked up a win in race 2 at Snetterton. And Wareham, as you rightly said, all the best of recovery to his good lady after what's happened. Daniel had a win at Barber Motorsports Park race 1, finished second at Snetterton race 1, and then had the dramas in race 2, which means he's got a no score on the board. So this is an opportunity for Wareham to get back into the groove, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing as well. He's fixed his steering wheel at 2 a.m. following Monday morning. He was in his shed banging. One round. Oh, but apparently they were all fine about it as he fabricating things, stuff like that at 2 a.m. Get the steering wheel back on, and that's what he managed to get done. So well done to him on that one. I think we need to reach out to Jim and say, look, you have Connor Pink's livery on, because Connor's name is on the door, above the door. Connor has his own one. That's all good. But Jim looks like he's carrying it as well, so maybe they can change over and get Jim's name on the top of the car there as well. Foster under attack at the moment by Cumulus in behind us, Marshall and Wareham. But these guys, though, I'd probably look at leaving each other alone. Don't want to be hassling too much, because otherwise Dan Wareham will just scarper off down the road.
Yeah, Jason Brennan in the 242 has been in pit lane now for over 3/4 of a minute, so looks like the Pro-Am driver who started 17th on the road might have a bit of a lengthy repair spell in the pit lane, I'm afraid to say. Alex Cumulus were running on board on the roof cam of the 371 as he closes in on the Simtech entry, the 300 of Dan Forster, as they come down at high speed down the Almond Straight. The car's topping out anywhere between 118 to 124 miles an hour as they go into Sunset Bend. Forster a little bit later on the brakes than Cumulus, who gets a tighter run coming out of turn 17 here at Sunset Bend. Switches to the outside, and there you can see the nice little bit of speed and gear telemetry as we run on board with Alex Cumulus into turn number 1. He's going to look to the inside, 5th gear, nearly 120 miles an hour, drops to 4th, still keeps that speed to carry the vehicle through to the corner. But more importantly, can he size up a move here on Dan Forster? Yes, he can, through just after turn 2, and Alex Cumulus does the business there. Nice and neat and tidy, I have to say.
Yeah, very much so. He set him up kind of coming through Sunset there as well. He made Wareham run a little bit wide in turn number 1, and that's the thing. He set him up. Wareham was a little bit wide. Wareham had to double brake in the mid corner to really try and scrub the speed off. And he you know, for Cumulus, he just set Foster up and he went through. So a great move from him. Mikey Dolan in the background. That is Connor Pink in front of him at the moment. No real reason to track or mess around here, Connor. You can kind of let him go at the same time. Top 3 in the championship: Marshall, Foster, Kennedy in pros, Pink, Hadfield, Roost in pro-ams. And I hope that helps you, Drax, there as well. But yeah, I think for Connor Pink here, I'd be looking at the bigger picture, whether or not I really need to mess around with Michael Dolan.
Yeah, he'd probably be I mean, if I was him, I would probably just go, okay, if he's quicker than me around the circuit, well, the last lap has just shown that to be the case, where Connor Pink did a 2:25.984. Michael Dolan's last lap, 2:25.087. So I think it would be in Connor's best interest just to let him go past and not have his own drama in that respect. So we've got just under 6 minutes to go in this opening race out of 2. The reverse grid for race 2 will be the top 12 as Michael Dolan. That's the way of getting around the circuit without going on the. He did try. He was very, very trying. And if, as they say, if at first you don't succeed, try again. And Michael Dolan's got to gather himself back up again. And when you've got someone like Connor Pink, it's going to be the case of. He's going to make the back end of that car as wide as possible, and you're the one that's got to try and get past said wide load, if it was a lorry reference that you wanted there, folks. Especially the ones where they reverse and then go, warning, this vehicle is reversing. Meantime, Alex Cubulus.
It's just gone past Marshall. I don't know if Marshall had...
Marshall, slow down.
Yeah, because then he lost it to Forster after, I think, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Marshall now down. Well, he was in 4th. He's now back up into 3rd again.
So, and now, hang on, it's not raining. Why are your wipers on? Oh, slip of the button. That's what normally happens when you're trying to get around a corner and that kind of thing happens. As Marshall to the outside of Cubulus, they make a little bit of contact. That's going to allow the likes of Forster et al. To close on in, including Turtle Speed Racing's Lee Martin in the 349 car. So again, with this kind of series, I like it when we do have the same car for everybody. And this is proof in the pudding that when you've got close racing where between 1st and 5th, the gaps are no more than 3/4 of a second at their highest between a pair of drivers, make that 9/10 now. But it's just the close quarter nature of everyone being in the same boat that really spices things up here in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. And when they're racing this close, you can see it's like 1.7 down to Martin. There's Wareham just escaping a little bit out the road. Obviously, Marshall and Cubulus and Foster had their own little battles. At the same point, Martin was just kind of sat there looking at that situation. Didn't really want to get involved. You see now, I'm not quite sure why he's not tucked in behind Dan Foster. A bit confused because Cubulus is literally pushing Marshall down the road at the moment. Foster's not even in the draft either. Seems a little bit confusing to me. But Connor Pink coming down now as well. But the problem with Connor Pink, where he's been tackling Mikey Dolan, Adrian Hatfield has brought the gap down to less than a second. Not good. Casper Roost on the recovery. He's trying to clear Robert Barber and Mohammed at the moment as they come down into the final corner once more. So Roost trying to climb forward. At the same time, he's got Barber and Ahmed Mohammed in front of him. So lots of action all the way through the field, of course. And yet, these guys up front still having their own little ding-dong.
Yeah, as we're now on to the penultimate lap of the race. So, total of 9 laps will be completed by the time we hit the checkered flag. And there is Marshall holding off the advances of Cubulus, who's got Forster and Martin behind him. So that just goes to show the close nature of these vehicles. And that is why when you have things such as the GR86, such as the Mazda MX-5, or the Miata as it's known in the US, they're always ultra competitive. And that's why we see such close quarter door banging racing here in the GR86 Grand Tour.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what makes it interesting. There's sort of borderline mini TCRs, and you know, if you're in a TCR, you can have a right old little ding dong and a right old go, and that's the thing. And I think this is only going to go from strength to strength here. Oh, however, Foster was going from Bush to Lee Martin there. Unfortunately, at the moment, Foster ran off the side of the circuit and come back on. And I think Martin may have taken a knock. Dolan round, unfortunately, for Michael Dolan. How much of that is instigated by Mr. Connor Pink? Well, we're going to find out. This guy's going to come into the right-hander of Cunningham now. Was there contact? Oh, no. Dylan went for the undercut underneath and unfortunately just pulled it a little bit too tight and hit the gas and ended up going off. But Matty Benson, Neil Kennedy also hacking their way through the field. Of course, trying to keep that top 12. If they stay in 12th place, they get pole position for the next race. So Matty Benson and Neil Kennedy are currently fighting it out in that 12th spot. What poor old Casper Roos doesn't want to do in front of him is lose that place to the guys behind because they're quicker than him. So for Casper's sake, he wants these two here, the Green and the Valhalla of Matty Benson, fighting it out so he can hold on to his front row place, of course, for race number 2, which is currently pole position held by Matt Benson.
So, white flag will be out this time as more opportunities for drivers to make moves. Ahmed Mohammed versus Ryan Clark. And the 2-2-1 has just got through before that Sunset Bend. So the Egyptian swings a little bit wide coming out of the corner. This is going to allow the car of Ryan Clark to really close in on him. And Clark looking to the outside into turn 1, and does not look like Ryan Clark. Well, Ryan Clark still trying to see if he can get through on the car in front of him, but it's not being made easy by Ahmed Mohammed as they go into turn 2. Clark to the inside. Mohammed just keeps it round the outside. The Egyptian with an absolute howitzer of a move there, and managed to keep Ryan Clark at bay right up until the dying seconds of that overtake.
Absolutely. I want to jump back up front now for the final lap here because these two are literally nose to tail. Marshall and Wareham. Marshall's looking for the run on the inside. Is he going to be able to have it here into Cunningham? He's going to make it work. Marshall's got to be harder on the brakes than Wareham. He's going to leave Wareham room on the inside. Wareham's got to be careful because at the same time Cubulus is coming through. Marshall's got to get that door either shut or get that inside line going into the right-hander of Tower. Does manage to hold on. Cubulus is on that line, but he cannot get the run. It's going to be this free-car fight down the Ullman, down through Sunset and across the line to see who's going to take this final position. They're coming in now into Genderling and then into Le Mans, Alex, and it's only going to be a few more corners left.
Yeah, drag race the line. Jim Marshall with the fastest lap of anybody, 2:24.086, and you cannot separate these drivers at the sharp end of the field. Cubulus is there or thereabouts. The gap between them is about half a second. But here goes Jim Marshall. Will he get the overspeed? What devious plan has Alex Cubulus got up his sleeve as they go into Sunset Bend? Timer has expired. And will Marshall run it wide, or will he try and keep it as nice, as tidy as possible? And Cubulus still going to get the run, but they are about to hit the stripe, and it was Marshall that won it by 21 thousandths from Alex Cubulus. Daniel Wareham, who did at one point also lead the race, picks up P4. Oh, sorry, Wareham takes P3, Martin P4, Connor Pink takes what is his second victory so far this season. Won Barber Motorsports Park Race 2 earlier on this year, and then did a double bubble of second places in round 2 at Snetterton, which has helped him with that consistency to but more to the point, it really does showcase how quick these laps have gone by because of just the close quarter nature of the racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a great run there. You saw that free car run down to the end as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they get on. Thought Cubulus was going to be able to take it. Marshall managed to hang on. Wareham lost that place in the end. It's going to be interesting to see where Casper Roos is. He's carrying a penalty at the moment. I'll be interested to know where he is. Neil Kennedy had a crash on the final lap, unfortunately. And we will have a look here. There was a little bit of, lots of argy-bargy with Benson and Kennedy. Kennedy comes into the wall and basically nowhere to go on that one. So lots of action still to come. But here are the results from race number 1 for you now.
So Jim Marshall wins by an adjusted time 23 thousandths of a second ahead of Alex Cubulus in the 371. And then Daniel Wareham rounds out your top three. Lee Martin and Dan Forster round out the top five overall. Congratulations to Connor Pink for picking up his second win of the season ahead of Adrian Hadfield, Simon Darch, Ryan Clark, and Albert Ahmed Mohammed rounding out the top 10. Robert Barber, Joseph Lopez, Matt Benson, Michael Dolan, then Matt Perez, and then Casper Roos got a slam dunk penalty after that, so was demoted all the way down to 16th with John Johnson and Jack Padley finishing 17th and 18th with Kennedy and Brennan rounding out the field. But great job there for the SRK boys. So, but what that means is Mr. Zubies is on the inverted top 12 position for pole on that particular occasion.
Yeah, he'll take the pole in race number 2. And as we're going into the warm-up for a few minutes here, once again, so bear with us while we go. And double win for SRK. Yes, Drax, it was a double win for SRK. Great win for them. And it's going to be interesting as well. Lopez needs to change the yellow pro if he's free number 321. Why is he all of a sudden gone to pro? That is not what I have. The confusing bit for me on that one. But I will have a look, dear sir, and really sure I will see what I could do. But yeah, very interesting to see. Is in pro. What?
I don't know. We will have to inform the powers that be and say,
I will sort
can
that
you
out.
confirm?
Yeah, I'll ask JT. But yeah, very interesting finish to race number 2. Right, race number 1 going to be the same for race number 3. Race number 2, sorry. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting one.
Yeah. So rather than it being 20 minutes, it'll be 25 minutes, which means even more unpredictability for us two up here in the commentary booth, as it always tends to be. But if you are watching along, thank you so much for being involved in the chat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to get involved with the Tanso Racing Group, you can actually click on the website URL that's down in the description below. So if you fancy a bit of GR86 action, give them a shout. I'm sure that it doesn't matter. You know, it does occasionally happen where drivers go, well, I can't afford all these cars on all these tracks. Well, the GR86 car, it's quite an easy one to work with, and there's a lot of people in this league that will help you to get up to speed. And you know, that's the thing about Tanso. They always like to welcome new members. They also like to help them out and get them up to speed and have good competitive battles like we've just seen in that opening race. Of course, warm up is underway. About another minute and a quarter still to go. So it's all good.
Absolutely, not long left on warm up 1 minute 10. I got mugged on last lap. I had major aero damage. This is Dan, by the way. Well, Dan, you can't do a lot about it. You just have to come out in race number 2 and take the victory, mate, wouldn't you? From about 9th on the grid, I think you're going to be, or maybe even, no, you 10th over back. So, yeah, you're going to have to do the bits from the back end, mate, fortunately, on that one. But it's going to be a very, very interesting one as well. Sebring providing a lot of the bumps, and as you can see, they have been bumping around all over the place as well. Where did the aero damage come from, Dan? Oh, I don't really know on that one, Drex, to be honest. Dan will be able to tell you. But yeah, race number 2, top 12 reverse, 25 minutes. It's going to be a classic.
Yeah, and for those wondering about the remainder of the calendar, this is the halfway point of the series. So next week we go to Silverstone, the home of British Motor Racing for evening number 4. Then Road America on the 30th of November, and then a good old favourite, the fastest circuit in the UK, Thruxton on the 7th of December to round off the series. Oh, I like Thruxton's a great track, and we've seen brilliant racing with the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Brigade in previous seasons as well. Let's not forget.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love Thruxton. It's up the road, and it's literally going to be very, very. Need to change me and Jason Brennan to Spectra Racing.
Well, with that in mind, they are starting to ready up for race 2, the 25-minute feature race with Joseph Lopez on pole, Robert Barber alongside on the front row. Ahmed Mohammed and Ryan Clark will run out row 2. Simon Darch, Adrian Hadfield, Connor Pink, Dan Forster, Lee Martin and Daniel Wareham will round out row 5. Completing the top 10, Alex Cubulus and Jim Marshall ran out the top 12 ahead of Matt Benson. Michael Dolan, Matt Perez, Casper Roos, John Johnston, Jack Padley, Neil Kennedy and Jason Brennan. As everyone's readied up on the grid as we wait for the 5 red lights to ignite. Here they go, and lights are out. We are underway, and green here at Sebring for race number 2. And Mr. Zoomies has already got a little bit of a slight advantage over Robert Barber as they're going to go harrying through into turn 1, nearly 5 wide. Hang on, boys. Like, literally, it's lap 1, turn 1, and you nearly throw it 5 wide into the first corner. What have they been eating today? Have they had their ready break this morning?
Look at him. You can see Connor Pink on the inside. He's having a tangle with Mohammed. There's a little weaving 373 coming through the middle of Dan Wareham. He's just gone and sliced it up. It does look like mine. Oh, there's drama.
Lee Martin, Neil Kennedy straight in the pit lane. Casper Roost, Matt Perez. Well, we got through to this point quite nice and easily in the first race, and then it just all... Lee Martin gets punted and then broadsided as well. And I think was that Neil Kennedy that literally yeeted into him because he had nowhere to go.
Yeah, I think he just came straight into the back of him, I think. Let's take another quick look as well if I can. And it's the Valhalla Racing. Is that Matty Benson? Yeah,
that's Matt Benson that's tagged him, and then here comes Neil Kennedy. Bang!
Oh, straight into him as well. Very, very messy indeed. Kennedy's in pit lane. Meatball Martin's got a meatball at the same time. So those guys are going to have to go in and get it repaired. Dan Wareham closing in on Ahmed and Mohammed, and is just about to try and go up the inside of him now on that run through into Gendabine before we go into Le Mans. Wareham is going to get through. He's on a bit of a march at the moment. The problem is Marshall and Cubulus are not going with him and are down in 8th and 9th. So at this moment in time, Wareham is escaping up the road.
Yes, but as we've always seen in these 25-minute top 12 reverse grid, JP, in previous seasons, that you've got to play a little bit of a longer strategy game, and we all know that on a reverse grid, and that's just what we've seen being proven, is that if you're in the mid pack, hold on for the roller coaster ride because your popcorn's going to go everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. There's just going to be so much action taking shape here. You're not going to really know where to look. And you see Foster and Marshall running side by side. Foster's got that inside line at the moment. He's going to get the job done, and that's put Marshall's down a position. Pink is in front of him. So it's whether or not the SRK of Connor Pink wants to play nicely, or if he's going to hold him up for the SRK of Mr. Marshall in behind him. I would have thought there might have been a little bit of a hold-up situation there as well. If I was Connor, I wouldn't necessarily allow Dan Foster through if my teammate was behind me.
Yeah, completely agree with you on that one. Lee Martin now into the pits as Forster has got... That's Marshall trying to go alongside him at the meantime, and Marshall has to back out of it for the moment. Ryan Clark in the meantime trying to close in on Mr. Zoomies, our race leader Joseph Lopez, as we are nearly 40-50% of the way through the second lap as Matt Benson gets through on Jack Padley. That's for 12th overall, and more to the point, that is going to put Matt Benson, I think that's 7th position in the pros, whilst Lee Martin effected a quick repair and got the 3:49 back out onto the circuit. Neil Kennedy, 3 minutes on his marks, repairing all that damage after having no alternative. And I think, Neil Kennedy's just come off the... Oh, and Valhalla Motorsports, Matt Benson has just had a drama. He's dropping like a stone.
Yeah, he's just dropped off down the order there for Matty Benson, went off the side of the circuit, unfortunately. I want to try and get there before this one. We'll have a quick look and see what Matty got himself up to. Whatever it was. Oh, he didn't do it himself. I think there may have been a 238 in, but that there was. And unfortunately, that 238 machine of Jack Padley had gone and made contact with Matty. We sent him down the order. Joseph Lopez under attack from Clark. Wareham in behind. Simon Darch in behind that. Mohammed in there as well. Cubulus, Foster, Marshall. All also together. Connor Pink's got to slow down. He's got to try and get it off at some point, not to hold up Marshall here. Otherwise, it's going to be very, very scrappy. Kennedy's got a penalty, and then needs to go and serve his penalty. Pink is right now he can go, but he did lose 3 places in the process. That's probably not what Marshall needed.
No, not at all. And plus also the fact that Connor Pink did not want nor need a slow down penalty for track limits. So again, it's just the highs and lows of racing, folks. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Really interesting to see how these cars, the noses dive down as soon as you hit the anchors hard, like we just saw on Connor Pink's SRK Racing Team car in the 203. Meantime, Jason Brennan ahead of Matt Benson as Daniel Wareham has finally broken the deadlock as Mr. Zoomies is no longer leading the race.
No, Wareham's gone through, which was kind of expected here, I think, at the same time. It's going to be whether or not Lopez or Clark can battle it out there. Clark leading the Pro-Ams, of course, Darch in behind, and Mohammed in behind that at the same time. But Dan Wareham out in front. Foster, Cubulus, Marshall sitting in the back with Connor Pink trying to get onto the back of him, of course, and a recovering Mikey Dolan, who had that spin towards the end of race number 1, got down the order. But Darch and Lopez and Clark are still battling it out for 2nd, 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, as Darch trying to go around the outside of Lopez, he gets back through for 3rd position. And this is going to be very much touch and go between the pair as they continue to get their elbows out with the standing knives that are sharpened and attached to them. So they've got to be very, very mindful of what parlays into the next 18 minutes and 10 seconds.
Nah, forget parlay, just go full throttle. Go have it, son. You know what I mean? I don't want, I don't want no parlays, Alex. I don't want no submissions. I want full ball, 3 wide sending, which is what we've got pretty much on the screen now. And you can see Foster on the right, Cubulus on the left, Mohammed in the front of the pack. Marshall's trying to go up the inside of Mohammed. Let's make it clean. Is Foster going to get through? He is. Cubulus might also get through at the same time. And poor old Mohammed would have lost 3 spots within 1 corner. But he has got the run out and he's managing to hold on to him going into turn number 1. So maybe Mohammed's not quite done yet.
Kennedy's got another black flag. That's probably for speeding in the pit lane going into it because he's just stopped on his marks. And Mohammed and Forster once again going through turn 1. Forster is hot if he goes for a Slim Shady round the outside, but he gets tagged from behind by Cubulus and Forster. Oh, he gets broadsided. Oh, now who was that smacked him? Was that Connor? That was Connor.
Connor Pink hit him.
Ah.
Cubulus did the right thing and let him go back through. Pink's now got a meatball. And unfortunately for Connor Pink, I don't really feel he knew a lot about this, though, to be honest with you, mate. I've got a funny feeling from Connor's point of view, there wasn't a whole heap he can do. Just kind of saw him there, went left, and then, oh. So, yeah, I can't really blame Connor for that one. He didn't really have a lot of places to go on that one. That was the guys behind who caused themselves issues.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, it was lastminute.com I'm trying to avoid, and it clattered the right front of Connor Pink's GR86, so hence why the meatball flag was out. But nevertheless, Jim Marshall still trying to keep Simon Darch at bay. Now, Simon Darch currently running P2 in the Pro-Am class. Ahmed Mohammed's doing a pretty good job. I mean, he didn't qualify well in race 1, but he made some steady inroads over the course of the opening race, and now finds himself, started P3 in this race, currently holding on to P6, but more to the point for the Egyptian, that is P3 in Pro-Am, and he rounds out the top 6 overall.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's done a great job there once again. It's all about how is he going to be able to handle the fact that obviously Mikey Dolan's in the background coming at him, and you know, Archie's in front. He's not going to make it easy to let him go either for Mohammed, so he's going to have to try and hold on here. I think 6th, possibly. Mikey Dolan 7th, maybe, but it depends if Foster, Hatfield, and Cumulus stop this little bit of a, I don't know, boxing match kind of sparring session, handbags at dawn situation they got going on, and see if they can close into Mohammed, who has, of course, got Darch in front of him.
Yeah, it's a bit like Connor Ben versus Chris Eubank Jr. all over again, like
Good
it was
fight.
last night.
Yeah, I watched the highlights. It was a good fight.
Yeah, it was. It was actually quite a good one. But, oh dear, Ahmed Mohamed, that is not how you exit turn 1, I'm afraid, my friend. That was a big old exit stage right. He was carrying so much speed through turn 1, but managed to still keep it pointing in the right direction. So credit where credit is due. Force has got through on Hadfield now for position. So Adrian Hadfield, who is 5.6 seconds ahead of Casper Roost, who's had a bit of an evening to forget, I'll be completely honest with you, JP.
It's not one of his best. Not one of his best for Casper, unfortunately. But, you know, look, it is what it is. That is racing. We never have great ones all the time. Marshall's now up into 4th, closing in on Lopez and Clark. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me, voice crack in the middle of that. Lopez
I thought there was a frog in your throat.
Hey, I was going to say, it's been a while since my voice has always dropped. But yeah, I got surprised it went then. But Marshall, Lopez and Clark still having a nice little ding-dong for full 3rd and 2nd.
Yeah, and Daniel Wareham is about 1.8 seconds up the road from Ryan Clark. So this is where this battle could be very, very interesting as they go down Flying Fortress. They're going to head into the slight turn here at Bishop Bend before Genderbeend, and then into Lamont before they go down the Almond Straight. We're currently on lap 5 with 13 minutes and 20 seconds on the timer still to go. Fastest lap of the race secured by Michael Dolan in the 3:57. Now Michael started 14th in the after the previous race of the evening and has set a 2-minute 24.445, 0.2 quicker than the fastest lap set by Daniel Wareham. And well, as I say that, Dolan has got through on Darch, as now Marshall looks to the inside of Lopez through at Sunset Bend, and you can see the front suspension bobbing up and down like a bungee cord on the front of Marshall's car. And he's pretty much neck and neck with Mr. Zoomies as they are going to go into turn 1. Lopez will have the inside line for the corner.
Yeah, but is he going to be able to hold it? Nope, he can't. Marshall goes through. He'll go through Clark like a hot knife through butter. No offence, Ryan. If you are watching this, it's going to take you on the inside here, fella. You've got no deep point. You might as well let him go. Worry about the guys you've got in behind you. You're leading the Pro-Ams. Lopez, Dolan, Darch, Mohammed in behind that. Hadfield in 10th place as well. He is battling away with with Dan Foster. Sorry, Foster again. I would expect to clear off up the road as soon as possible. Padley and Kennedy here as well, and this is what happened to poor old Mr. Padley. He does look like he's already got a bit of damage going into turn number 1. I've got a feeling after he comes out of turn number 1, it only gets worse. Oh, it doesn't even get into one.
Ooh, unusual there for Jack Padley, running in the Golf style colours there in the blue and orange. Ryan Clark for Spectre Racing, holding off the advances of one Mr. Zoomies, Joseph Lopez, but Clark doing a pretty good job. He's trying to keep with Jim Marshall at the moment, but more to the point that Ryan Clark does not need to battle too hard with these individuals because, as you rightly said, JP, he is the Pro-Am class leader. Now, Ryan joined us back at Snetterton at round number 2. Him along with the likes of Simon McPhee, who I see is not here tonight. Stuart Briley not on the grid. Jack Padley joined us at Snetterton. Igor Satiro, who didn't have a good opening round at Barber Motorsports Park. Was he there for Snetterton? Because I know you were running solo that weekend.
Yes, I did. I did ride solo. I don't remember seeing him now. I haven't remember seeing Satiro since race number 1. Round number 1, I should say. So, yeah, unfortunately, I haven't seen him. But Marshall is, by Drax's YouTube chat, says Jim's about to hunt Wareham down. No offence, Drax, I'm sure Marshall's good, but I don't think he's 3.5 seconds good over Dan Wareham. He needs to pull out an absolute chunk over these 2.5 minute laps. Not enough. Last time round, Wareham in a 2:24.9. Marshall 2:25.8, so Wareham nearly a full second ahead. Sorry, Drax, love your optimism. Don't think it's going to happen. I think Marshall could end up just settling for second.
And for Marshall, that'll be a good haul of points as well. I mean, Daniel Wareham, when you think about it, this would be a good return to form for the man in the 373 from Simtech. But Ryan Clark has now decided, well, I'm still in the class lead. Yeah, it'd be great to be P3 overall at the checkered. Well, you never know, Ryan, because we've still got 9.5 minutes left to go. But you were saying about Marshall, his last sector, he just set a personal best of a 26.488, and he was nearly 0.3 quicker. But you were right. I think you're right in what you're saying about the battle between Wareham and Marshall, is that Marshall has just got a bit too much of a mountain to climb. If you said that he was 2.5, 3 seconds behind after, say, the first 5 minutes, and he had a clear run, there's 20 minutes to gather that time up, yes, you could probably say he's got more of an opportunity. But as the timer counts down, it is going to be difficult. But if Wareham starts making mistakes, then it could be Wareham's race to lose, and Marshall might capitalise and get a double bubble here tonight.
Yeah, I just don't think Marshall's going to be able to stay or get close enough. I think Lopez is keeping Marshall honest, and if I'm honest with you, I think Lopez, if he can stay in this draft coming through these next couple of corners, you'll see that about to come down. That's not going to be good for Marshall at all. You see Dolan getting involved, well, turning it into a lawnmower there as well. But I think Lopez, Clark, Dolan, Marshall, I'm just not sure they're going to get to Wareham. I think it's going to be these three battling it out for third, fourth and fifth, and I think Marshall battling it out for second.
Oh, Ryan Clark diving to the inside at Sunset Bend. This could open the door for Dolan, who goes very, very wide coming out of Sunset. He's trying to carry the speed through. And now he's looking left, he's looking right. He's trying the old Nigel Mansell dummy trick, but it's not quite working. Here's Dolan, and now into turn 1. Dolan to the inside of Clark. And he gets through, and he gets the overspeed. It's 3 wide coming out of turn 1. Is Dolan going to get through on Lopez? The answer is yes. Well, Michael Dolan stoned the crows on that one.
Yeah, he did there as well. The problem is for Dolan, after that, he ended up going off the side of the circuit. So, look, he's managed to hold it. That's all that matters, and he's managed to keep it in front of Lopez. Again, it's now down to Dolan to see if he can catch up with Marshall. I don't think he's going to be able to. No offense again, Michael. I just think Marshall and obviously Wareham up front have got a little bit too much for him. So Ryan Clark leading the way in the Pro-Am. Simon Darch is there. Alex Kubelis and Ahmed Mohammed in behind it.
Well, I've been looking at the last lap times, JP. Dolan, low, 24.5. Marshall, high, 25.0. Wareham, low-ish, 25.3. So the way that Dolan's nigh on driving the wheels off the thing, well, if he hits the barriers, there will be 3 wheels on that wagon. there is still a possibility if Dolan can start chipping away, but it's got to be several tenths per sector. There's 7 sectors on this circuit here on iRacing, where we would normally see 3, as Simon Darch battling away with Alex Cubulus, as Darch is getting a bit brave. He's gone round the outside of him. That is I cannot believe it. We see the Hail Mary from Michael Dolan, and Simon Darch does a number on newcomer Alex Cubulus, and that was going through Le Mans, coming out of Genderbean Bend. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, absolutely did there as well. Now Cubulus is trying to go back at Mohammed into that final corner. Is he going to be able to make it done? We've got 5.5 minutes. We've got about another 2 laps, just depending on how these guys get on. But Mohammed and Darch did Cubulus, and Cubulus has got to look through. He's trying to come back up the middle, but Mohammed seems to get a lot better run out and seems to be looking at making his way forward. But Cubulus just comes straight across and says, "Thank you very much. I'll have some of that. You are not going to get there." Michael Dolan, however, has got his own problems, and that's Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, and Dolan's last lap 25.9, Marshall 25.1, Lopez 26.3, Ryan Clark at 27.4. So Wareham and Marshall nearly matching each other on pace. The gap is still staying, it's stabilising at around about the 3.4 second mark, with just coming up to 4 minutes and 40 to go. I think you're right in what you were saying about 2 laps remaining of this race. We could be, if there's like a couple of seconds they cross the line, there will be an additional lap. So I think maybe Daniel Wareham might want to keep that car a little bit slower through the last corner. But Michael Dolan goes off track, loses out to Joseph Lopez, and I think that might be the end of his challenge to try and close in on Jim Marshall, because the gap between Marshall and Lopez now stretches to 3.4 seconds, and it is climbing as Dolan all over the back of Joseph Lopez like a bad rash on a Sunday evening.
Yeah, he is, but it's going to be an interesting battle between these two, whether or not they can or cannot settle this fight down. There's Wareham, there's Marshall, there's Lopez, Dolan and Clark. I think it might be this one, possibly one more. Depends on how quick this one gets to run down the Ullman and into Sunset.
Yeah, so there is Daniel Wareham, the 373 from Simtech, now makes his way at full breakneck speed down the Ullman Straights, and then we'll head into turn 17 at Sunset Bend for what could be more than likely the penultimate time. We've got about 3 minutes and 20 to go. We could be on the cusp. I think it might be another 2 laps remaining as Wareham goes tight to the wall on the inside of Sunset Bend to carry the momentum through the corner. And 3 minutes. Yep, well, okay, 2 laps to go. 2 laps to go. So 3 minute mark, so 2 laps remaining, and Wareham expanding that lead. Dolan has finally got back past Lopez again, but they are Lopez trying the Hail Mary to the outside. Cubulus battling away with Mohammed and Darch, and Mohammed to the inside. And Cubulus, where's he going to place the car here? Mohammed blocks him straight away coming out of turn 1. Cubulus has got an open door policy going through into turn 2 now. He gets through on Mohammed, so that is a change for 7th overall. And Alex Cubulus just had to play the waiting game there, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't really have a lot of option though, did he? Let's be real about it. He literally got blocked in turn 2 and 3. Couldn't really find a way out, and unfortunately just had to sit and wait. I would expect him to clear Simon Darch before the end of this race. Casper Roost moving up, having a good old go with Manny Benson. It seems like Benson and Foster may be carrying damage here, because both of these haven't quite gone as far forward as I expected them to. Kennedy is got a penalty, but I don't know if he's still out on track. He is out on track, but he's now got a penalty. Simon Darch is having a go with Alex Cubulus, but Dan Wareham going to be coming through Tower over the line in a little while, take that final lap of the race. But a couple of battles here to keep an eye on at the moment.
Yep, so we're into the last 90 seconds of this second race here at Sebring. And And then we head to Silverstone for next week, as we are fast approaching the halfway point of this 6-round calendar for the Tanso Racing Group Toyota GR86 Grand Tour. Dolan still hanging on ahead of Lopez as they're going to go through Lamar out of Genderbeen. And then more to the point, it is going to be very shortly. There is Wareham, there is Marshall down the Almond Straight for what is going to be the penultimate time. Adrian Hadfield's got a slow down penalty for track limits as Wareham fires it through turn 17 at Sunset. Dolan holding on to P3 overall. He's got about a 4-length lead over Lopez as we get underway with the final lap of this race, lap 11 out of 11. And Daniel Wareham has a 3.2 second lead over Jim Marshall. Michael Dolan a further 4.7 seconds back. And he's still got Mr. Zoomies going at him, hammer and tongs. Joseph Lopez not allowing Michael Dolan to breathe as we go on to the final lap of the evening.
Yeah, final lap here as well. Now Darch and Cubulus have just swapped places. Cubulus got up the inside. Mohammed sitting back just there waiting to see if anything happens. Jack in YouTube chat, was a great race till I crashed out. Well, yeah.
Oh.
Okay, Jack, that would be, that's everybody's problem, isn't it? If they have a race until then. But you can see there's only a few more. There's half a track now for Wareham, and Marshall's coming at him. But I'll tell you what, Lopez not letting Dolan breathe.
No, and this is going to come down to the wire. Oh, Dolan had a bit of a moment there. I think he just over-rotated the car a little bit too much, and Lopez is right with him as they are going through in towards Cunningham Corner. Lopez switches to the outside. He's making Dolan do all the work and possibly cause himself to have a little bit of a mistake in the meantime. Through into Collier. And then into 90 right, coming up shortly at Tower Turn. Meantime, Daniel Wareham is making his way down Flying Fortress Straight and into Bishop Bend before Genderbeen and Lamar as he goes out of shot. There's Jim Marshall also just going out of shot. But this battle here for 3rd and 4th overall. Dolan from Lopez. Ryan Clark looks to be pretty safe in 5th position in the Pro-Am class lead. He's got a 6-second gap between himself and Simon Darch, who is still battling away with Alex Cubulus as the timer hits 0. And now our leaders, and there is our leader, Daniel Wareham, who started down in 10th, finished P3 in the previous race. Daniel Wareham, for the first time since the season opener at Race 1 at Barber Motorsports Park, comes back with a bang here at Sebring International Raceway to take the feature victory here in race 2.
Yeah, great victory for Dan Wareham. Still action kicking on here, Mohammed and Darch. They both got in deep into the final corner. Is Darch going to be able to get the run? He's trying to carry the speed here, Darch. He's trying to have a go, but I think it's going to be Mohammed who's going to grab it. It is Mohammed who's going to get it over the line. Roost, Matty Benson. Again, Matt Benson is going to get the job done over Casper Roost. But yeah, some great fight in there all the way through. It's good to see here.
Yes, indeed. Ryan Clark picks up the victory. 5th overall winner in Pro-Am. Ahmed Mohammed, the Egyptian on his debut, makes it a nice 2nd place, beating Simon Darch to the line, coming out of the final corner here at Sunset Bend. Still got a few other drivers. Lee Martin, a difficult race too for him to forget. John Johnston, always the trooper in the lovely Union Jack emblazoned Team Tanso car. He crosses the line. We've got one more driver to wait for. It's going to be a little bit of time, but there is Connor Pink, who unfortunately in that drama earlier on that involved I think was it Forster?
Yeah,
I think
there was quite a few.
It was that moment where Connor had nowhere to go, ends up with damage to the right front and gets a meatball flag, but he'll come out of the final corner. He picks up the race 1 victory in Pro-Am. He's going to be our last classified finisher across the line, down in 17th with a flash of the headlights. And unfortunately on lap 9, Connor sideswipes the barriers just for good measure, just to be on the safe side, saying, I don't need to pay an invoice after that one. Thank God. So, Daniel Wareham takes the win, his first win since the season opener. And that nicely leads us to the halfway point of the season. Wareham with his second win of the season ahead of Jim Marshall, who continues to extend his lead. He's no longer tied on points with Dan Forster after these two races. He takes second ahead of Michael Dolan. Joseph Lopez rounds out the top four, finishing ahead of Pro-Am class winner Ryan Clark for Spectra Racing. Alex Hublis in sixth, ahead of Ahmed Mohammed and Simon Darch, who ran at the top three in Pro-Am and round out your top eight. Adrian Hadfield would finish about 2 seconds behind the battling pair of Mohammed and Darch and rounds out the top four in Pro-Am, with Dan Forster rounding out the top 10 overall. Matt Benson, involved in a couple of dramas, was the man from Valhalla Motorsports in the 369, rounds out 11th, head of Casper Roost, Robert Barber, Matt Perez, Lee Martin, John Johnston, and Connor Pink being the last of our classified finishers. Jason Brennan for Spectra Racing out with 2 laps to go, and Jack Padley and Neil Kennedy retiring on what was lap number 5.
Great race in there. And let's have a chat with some of the drivers and start off with Casper Roost for you, Alex.
Yes, indeed. Casper, good evening. It's been a bit of a topsy-turvy one for you tonight here at Sebring, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's not been exactly what I would have hoped for, but yeah.
But as they say, that's the trials and tribulations of racing. I mean, still, nevertheless, you've got some points on the board. That's the biggest take-home, isn't it?
That is definitely the biggest take-home for today. I'm very much interested to see what the standings are going to be after this race. I had a few encounters with a few different drivers, and I don't know what happened with some of them. And yeah, I think it was just bad driving on my part, and then I don't know, could have been way better on my end at least.
Well, we did see some drivers go off the circuit and do a little bit of lawn mowing a la Valtteri Bottas like he did in 2020 for Mercedes at the Red Bull Ring. But still, that's the halfway point of the season done, Casper. And then next week we go to Silverstone. Should be an interesting dynamic with 2 very different circuits back to back, huh?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be very interesting to do the change, especially because I didn't. Like I said last week, I've never raced this track before today. Well, I've practiced a bit, but I haven't actually raced this track before today.
Well, nevertheless, well done for finishing both races. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight?
No, not that I can think of. No, the only thing I would end it on is I'm sorry to anyone that I hit, and that's about it.
Well, Casper, thanks so much for your time. We'll see you next week for round 4 at Silverstone.
Yeah, I'll see you next week.
Well, good to hear from Casper. Let's have a chat with Connor Pink, because Connor's had an up and down evening. Well, race winner in race 1, but race 2, a very, very different story for your good self, Mr. Connor Pink. You didn't have exactly anywhere to go, did you, when you saw a spinning Dan Forster in front of you?
I saw a spinning Dan Forster, and then I really saw a spinning Dan Forster all of a sudden. Yeah, I thought I was gonna manage to squeeze it down the inside there, but it didn't come off. That's racing.
Yeah, but still, pretty good victory in race 1, though.
Yeah, I had a bit of a set to with Mickey for that whole race. But I was just trying to keep him in between me and Adrian. So it was just defend against him, and keep Adrian behind him, and managed to do that for most of the race. And then Adrian was right behind me on the last lap. So yeah, it was a good race 1, not so good race 2, but you got to finish it out. So I just drove around at the back by myself for a few laps.
Well, it meant you got some seat time, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I wasn't giving up my seat time. I don't get much of it, so it was go back out and finish the race.
And how's the family doing, and how's little Axel getting on?
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, he's rolling over now, and shouting in my face when he's hungry. So I'm guessing those are good things. So yeah, it's going really well. Getting along really well now.
I think JP. All I've got to say to Connor is watch out for the terrible twos, eh?
Only gets worse.
Yeah, I've heard.
Well, mate, it's always a pleasure to have a chat with you. So give our regards to the family. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just the family and Jim, my race team partner, did really well today. Was trying to give him some information of the cars behind him in that second race, but obviously ended up at the back. So yeah, just shout out to both of them and shout out to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Connor. We'll see you next week at Silverstone for round 4. Always nice to hear from Connor, isn't it, JP?
Yeah, absolutely. Who would you like next, mate? We're going to speed up because we've got a list to get through.
Okay, right. Let's go with Jim Marshall because he's definitely been doing the business for SRK tonight. Well, Jim Marshall, a win and a second place. Not bad going tonight, mate.
Yeah, phenomenal racing from everyone. Like, that is so close across the line in that first heat. It was fantastic.
But what this also means is you're no longer tied with Dan Forster on points leaving this round of the season because you were both on, I think, 153 apiece, and now you've got a nice little bit of a gap going to Silverstone next week.
Just a bit, but I mean, as this race shows, like it could change by one result, so who knows?
Yeah, I mean, but still, nevertheless, starting from 12th position after picking up the win in race 1, you had your work cut out for you a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, they put the pressure on. And yeah, I mean, even AMs are faster than you think. So trying to just like make it through the pack is it's hard work. But I mean, yeah, great win for Daniel as well.
And also your SRK racing teammate, we've just had a quick chat with, Mr. Pink, Connor. Yeah. Gave you a shout out as well. It just goes to show it's nice to have someone of Connor's caliber alongside you, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like he's helped me loads throughout these races, and yeah, great teammate to have.
Awesome. Well, Jim, congratulations on the good points haul tonight. I think that makes it 87 points in total you've taken from tonight. So anyone you'd like to give a shout out to and thank before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, shout out to all friends, family, and Connor.
Brilliant. Well, Jim, congratulations on your success tonight, and we'll see you next week for round 4 at Silverstone.
Thank you. See you then.
Okay, next up, let's bring in Mickey Dolan, because he's had a bit of an up and down night tonight. Mr. Dolan, good evening.
Hello.
Hello. We can hear you.
Hello.
Yeah, well, Michael, it's been a bit of a tough one tonight in race 1, but race 2, you came back flying, took the fastest lap of the race, and then ended up P3 overall. So, how are you feeling in general?
Yeah, I'm a bit overwhelmed with that race 1. It was good battles with Connor. It was just a shame how it finished. But yeah, P3. I certainly dodged some bullets in that race.
I think that you weren't just the only one, but it was a bit of a tight battle between you and Joseph in the latter stages of race 2, battling for that P3.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, but I can't remember what lap it was. I hit the wall and I got damaged. So I was just trying to survive after that.
Ah, that's why he was keeping pace with you a little bit. So whereabouts did you clip the wall then?
I clipped the final bend, Sunset Bend. That Sunset Bend. I don't know what to call it.
Was it when you were coming out of the corner towards the tyre wall on the left-hand side, or was it the inside wall?
It was the inside wall. Yeah, I turned in too hard and I hit the wall, and that was that.
Oh, but still, nevertheless, fastest lap in race 2 as well. And if you'd had a little bit more time, I think we were sort of like thinking, okay, not enough time to catch Mr. Wareham, but Jim could have been a possibility to catch if you didn't have that damage and didn't have to worry about Joseph in your rear view mirror.
Yeah, I was gaining time on Jim, surprisingly, and then I clipped the wall, and then I wasn't.
Well, still, nevertheless, a good comeback in race number 2 in the Evolution Sim Racing number 357. Michael, before we let you go, anyone you'd like to say thank you to and give a shout out?
Yeah, I'd like to give a thank you to John for putting these leagues on. I've been I've been here quite a long time now. I'd say about 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 seasons, and I'm just grateful for him putting them on, and also my missus for letting me build the sim rig of my dreams.
Oh, well, there you go. Michael, thank you so much for your time, buddy. We look forward to seeing how you get on next week in the sim of your dreams at the home of British Motorsport at Silverstone for round 4. Well done tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Alex. See you later, JP.
Bye, mate.
And last but by certainly no means least, well, he finally has got a win in the Pro-Am class. Ryan Clark, good evening. Well, how was that? Because that was definitely, you definitely had a fight in your hands in race 2, didn't you?
That was, stressful. A lot of pressure staying there. All I just thought is just stay with those guys in pro, and hopefully they just dragged me along. As long as I kept mistakes down and hit the apexes, I'd stay with them. So yeah, very stressful, a lot of pressure, but enjoyed it.
I mean, it's not easy to overtake here at Sebring, but you definitely made it count, though.
Yeah, there's a few questionable overtakes that I did, but I mean, one in race 1, come up the inside of Joseph Lopez on the final corner, so I have to apologise for him for getting a bit of understeer on that and clipping him. But yeah, other than that, it's quite hard to pass on there. But once those guys were right up my on my bumper, I just thought, just let them go. I'm not fighting that. So.
Well, I mean, especially when you had to keep it in front to have that class victory in Pro-Am, which is your first one here of the GR86 Grand Tour. I mean, going on to Silverstone next weekend, fast flowing, a lot of possible overtaking opportunities. Are you looking forward to that one?
Absolutely. Silverstone's one of my favourite circuits. This is actually the first time I've raced at Sebring, so it's a good way to finish the first race, I guess. Silverstone I'm a good fan of, so yeah, I do like Silverstone.
Well, congratulations for the Pro-Am class win in race 2. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to or say thank you to before we let you go?
Yeah, just give a shout out to my teammate Jason. Unfortunately, it didn't go to plan for him tonight, but chin up and on to next week.
Ryan, thank you so much for your time, buddy, and look forward to seeing you next week at Silverstone for round 4.
Cheers.
Well, a lot of drivers to get through there, JP. We had a bit of a waiting list, didn't we? It was a bit like a doctor's surgery.
It was, mate, yeah, but it's going to be an interesting one going into next week. I'm looking forward to it. I think you're looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, so it is going to be the case, more to the point of same place, same time, as in Silverstone next week for round 4 of the Tanso Racing Group GR86 Grand Tour. Still, there's going to be racing aplenty. There's going to be great close quarter battling. You don't want to miss it, so don't forget to like, share and subscribe. You've been in the company of Alex Goldschmidt and James Parfitt here tonight for what has been a great round 3 here at Sebring, and we'll see you next time. And as always, race hard, race fair, and if in doubt, well, you better go flat out. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time. Good night for now.